So normally when I'm doing these POV photography shoots, it's usually something like landscape photography or street photography, something that isn't paid. But today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. Today I'm gonna be taking you guys on my real estate photography shoot using my Nikon Z5 or Z6 with my 14-30mm lens. But today I want to show you something a little bit different about my photography aspect when it comes to being a freelance photographer. I feel like I don't talk about it. I talk about it quite a bit on this channel, but I don't show it enough. So today, real estate photography shoot, POV in a house in Murrieta, which is a bit far from me. It's about a 4,000 square foot home, which is really, really big. That's the biggest probably I've ever done in my real estate photography career. But yeah, I want to take you guys on a paid photo shoot. I'm getting paid for this. So I want to take you guys on that and just show you guys what it's like to be a real estate photographer or a freelance photographer doing these type of shoots, my thought process behind it and all that good stuff. So let's get started and head right over there to go ahead and do these shoots. What's up, y'all? It's a Project Photography by another video, and today, like I said, we're doing a POV photography shoot. I'm be getting my drone out right now because they want some drone photos and stuff. But after that, I'm putting my camera on my tripod so I can go ahead and do some interior and exterior stuff. And yeah, I'm be putting you guys on my camera for a POV photography shoot so you can see what it's like to do a paid real estate photography gig right off the bat. So yeah, let's jump right in and do some POV photography. What's up, y'all? We're now behind the scenes, behind the camera, and today we're doing a POV real estate photography shoot, actually. So just to be quick here, I'm going to take 5 photos of each thing that I take because I'm shooting HDR and the final image comes out like this. Reason why I'm shooting HDR is because you get the maximum amount of dynamic range, reduced noise in the shadows, bring back those highlights and all those great benefits. So that's why I'm shooting HDR on all these photos. Almost every single photo you see, if it's handheld, it's not HDR, but pretty much every single photo you see is going to be shot in HDR, so I can just again retain as much dynamic range as possible. And going on here, we can see that the next photo that I take is just a single frame, like that I show in terms of the unedited. That is actually a HDR image, but I just didn't edit it, and then the next one will clearly be edited. So this one is unedited, and then going to the edited version. So now I have that out of the way. Right here, I'm mainly taking a lot of the exterior stuff, working with that, because the exterior is honestly the most important part to me of a house. The inside is also important, but clearly like the exterior, if we can show that in a good light, it gives a good first impression of the real estate property. So here, getting a little bit of a close-up of the actual plants here, just to show some dynamic movement between the actual house and the plants. I think it's a good detail shot, kind of highlights the plants a bit when that house is so big, and it's really nice to just get those nice detail shots in. So moving here, we're moving to the backyard area really quick here. So a big part of this house that I really wanted to talk about was the fact that like there's a lot of space outdoors, and the best way to capture it for me is to show that dimension, show that lot of space, right? So with here, I'm gonna be going right into the portrait orientation and capturing kind of these square tiles at the bottom. Show some range, right? So right here, go ahead and capturing our 5 photos. And I want to include a bit of that foreground element, show some perspective between the foreground and the sky. And I think that's a really nice way to give some depth to the photo. And we're gonna be moving more towards the top of the property here. One thing with real estate that I really want to highlight is that your job as a photographer is to show all angles of the property, but in the best light possible, right? So right here, you know, I want to make sure I'm showcasing that staircase as well as the back part of the property. This is photos that will be going on the listing for the actual house. So I'm not too worried about, you know, capturing the absolute fine details. Our job is to capture the entirety of the house and showcase what it has to offer to potential buyers. And you know, this is a reason why you have to work with your realtors really closely, because they're going to have certain ideas as to how they want to show the house and how they're going to market it, right? So for Sam, the realtor I'm working with, he said, you know, showcase the outdoors part of the property, because that's really where it's going to make a lot of money, and show people, you know, like this is the best part of the house. And that pool right there is really beautiful, but I have a hard time kind of getting over that little gate that they have there, just because, you know, that's just kind of there to protect the dog so it doesn't fall in the water and drown. But here, this is the staircase part, and I think this is probably one of the most important parts of the actual shoot, just because, you know, it connects the entire house, right? And as a photographer, right, we want to bring back those highlight details, like I said, in the windows right there. We can see those details being brought back, and that's the power of HDR. We're also seeing little noise in the shadows, so we can really push things to the way we want them. But like I said, like if we can make this part of the house look good, you know, we can connect it to all the other aspects of the house too. So one of my philosophies in real estate is that, you know, when you shoot something forward, you also have to shoot the other side to also show perspective from a different angle, right? And so from here, I'm shooting it vertically and getting that nice and edit back in there. But you know, we're showing the other side and we're giving a different perspective low to the ground. So you know, when buyers come and look at it, they kind of know what to expect from the house. And one thing with real estate that I think is really important is the fact that when you're doing this, you know, you do want to be artsy to a degree, but there's a certain level of consistency that you want to have with your photos. So these photos I'm showing you right here, I'm not showing you those photos, but those photos that I took right there, that's to show the consistency of the house, right? Like there's always going to be those generic shots that we have to take just because that's how it is. But we can get artsy with some of these photos, like this photo right here, getting a little bit different with that perspective, you know, showing what it's like to be on the couch and showing, you know, what it's like in the other room. But we can get a little artsy with some of these photos, but I wouldn't recommend it for the entirety of the shoot, right? Because we're not trying to be whole like artsy and, you know, show a different side. Like our job is to showcase the house as a whole. So, you know, we can do those every once in a while, just showcase some little details, but at a certain point, like we have to move on and go to the next subject and all that. So right here is shooting a staircase, but not too important. A lot of these parts I'm actually skipping over just because, you know, I'm not really worried about showing you guys what those different parts entail. I'm showing you many of the important things right here. Like this bedroom right here, I think is really important to highlight just because, you know, I'm getting that different perspective. Like you saw that I wasn't able to fit my entire camera in and get the entire actual room in there. So we have to improvise a little bit, showcase some of the frames on these sides here. And with the edited version, we can see that we can bring a lot of those highlights back. And you just have to improvise a lot on these shoots. Not all houses are created equal, and they're definitely not going to be perfect. When you're actually going through and shooting these houses, just know that a lot of it is you have to improvise a lot, make adjustments on the fly, and really dial it in when it comes to getting those right shots. Like the hardest part with photography or real estate photography is definitely the bathrooms. Like you can see in this photo right here, or this, even that shot right there, like I had to close the door, get behind it and whatnot. So because of those mirrors are really pesky, it's hard to, you know, find the right composition and shoot it when those mirrors are always trying to catch a reflection. So right here with this photo, I'm trying to get, you know, that staircase going up, also showcasing, you know, the expanded kind of view, the top level of looking down from that staircase on the bottom. And I think this is a really important shot because it gives a lot of perspective as to how the house functions, where people are gonna be walking in, and so all that sorts of things. You also can see like there's 4 rooms in total that you can enter. So this is a great shot, just because, you know, we're getting that foreground element right there with that kind of like square diamond thing in the middle at the bottom of it, and we can show, you know, the perspective of the house. So I think this is a great photo. And like I said, you can be artistic to a degree with the photos that you take, but a lot of the photos that you do end up shooting, you know, you want to keep very consistent and reliable. And that's what a lot of realtors look for in a real estate photographer, is consistency and reliability. Like you can be artistic to a degree, but if you don't do your job and showcase what the house has to offer, you might not get too many calls back. So have those shots that you take that are like more artsy as like extras rather than the center focus of your real estate photography. The thing I want to highlight here is that getting those angles right, especially with the wide angle lens, getting those lines straight is pretty difficult. Like you're gonna see in this photo right here, I have a hard time getting those lines straight. It's never gonna look absolutely perfect, but do your best when you're on the shoot and then try to correct it in post. I know it's really hard to do, but that's just something you have to be cognizant of and keep in mind. So if you can see this room right here, it's really, really plain. And, it's going to be hard to get decent shots that look pretty. So like I said, just try to document it as best as possible. Don't feel like you have to go over the top with creating amazing photos with rooms like that especially. And if you can do that, you'll be fine. Right here, I'm trying to get a shot of the balcony overlooking the backyard. And this is also another very important photo because when people are looking through these images, right, they want to know and what to expect from those balcony shots, because like that's a real selling point to a lot of these houses is how is the view looking outside from the house. And I think with this shot, it's really crucial to showcase, what it's like to be from the top. That's why I include a bit of that balcony there, because it gives you a bit of perspective relative to the rest of the house. So I like that photo a lot, and I think it does a good job of showcasing what I want. So if we move on here, we're moving from the outside, going a bit more inside. A lot of these rooms here are kind of boring, so I don't really show them. But again, like these are the rooms that you're going to be dealing with, right? So we're not going to be trying to be too artistic here. We're just trying to get the photo down, what we want, and then move on from there. Like again, like this room isn't very pretty either. But one thing I really want to talk about here is getting those bathroom shots. I know these bathroom shots are really hard, and I actually have to go in with Photoshop and retouch a lot of them. Just because, we want to make sure that the photos that we take of the bathrooms do not include ourselves, because that's, no one wants to see you in the photo. But I'm trying to get a different angle here, making sure I'm not in the mirror and the camera's not in the mirror. And then once we're in post, we can go ahead and edit out the little parts that we can't really adjust right here. I mean, I didn't really have to edit too much, but in general, that's mainly what you have to do. But overall, that was a good photo. But we're going to move into the other side of the bathroom because, like I said, what we do in the front, we also have to do in the back. Right here, taking a photo of the restroom itself, and it's not too pretty, but we just have to do it. So right here, getting that other angle from the bathroom side, and from here, I'm going to be shooting horizontal just because we want to get a different look. We want to vary it up because we don't want the same mundane stuff over and over. And right here, you can see myself a little bit in that corner there, but once we go to the edit version, I edit that out with Photoshop. Another thing I want to talk about is that when it comes to color correcting, right, we don't want to be too over dramatic, not representative of what the house actually looks like. So when it comes to editing, keep it minimalistic, make sure the white balance is neutral, and just do a good job, be consistent. That's all I can really say. So that's why bathrooms are the hardest one to photograph, man. They're just really hard to not get yourself in the mirror. You have to take really different angles and different perspectives to really capture what you want to capture. So right here, I'm taking more of a detail shot of that mirror and of that sink because I think it's a good idea to capture those details and show some of that foreground element in there. And if you want to be more artistic, it gives the house some character. So we can go ahead and move on here. Again, I'm just shooting some of these rooms, nothing too fancy, nothing too special. I'm just trying to get all the different angles of the room, showcase what it has to offer, get a little bit of that detail with that bed right there. And we can move on through the rest of the house right here. That part right there was kind of the hallway. Again, it's hard to get those things correct right off the bat. But right here, this room, I think this is a really important room to highlight just because there's a lot of different elements moving around here, right? So we can see that bed, we can see those couches, and it's really interesting and it's really aesthetically pleasing. So my job as a photographer, I really want to highlight those parts and showcase, to the buyer that, that this is something that you can relax with, give them a sort of feel and vibe that not a lot of other photographers are able to capture, not a lot of other photos would be able to do. So here, you can see a high contrast between the lighted area and then the windows. So one side is very blue, one side is very orange. I try to do my best to minimize both sides of that in post-production. I think it comes out pretty well. I like to have a lot of white neutral kind of feel to the photos. So because to me, white looks really clean and you want to associate that with the actual property. So that's why I like to do that. So here I take that one side, and then here I'm going to move on to the counter. Actually, I literally put my camera on the counter. Go ahead and shoot those photos because I'm trying to capture the reflection in the tile, and then obviously get that bathroom lighting going. I think it comes out pretty nicely with the edited version right here. I'm getting that nice and white neutral feel to it. And it's a different perspective from the bathroom counter, so when people like look around, you know, they can know what to expect. But again, another artsy photo, but yet it does the same job as wanting to be consistent and showing what the house has to offer. So from here, we move on and shoot, you know, some of the other things like, you know, this room right here. But one part that I really want to highlight is what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be showing these couches sort of on the edges of the bed right here. And what it's going to do is create leading lines that lead your eyes up to the bed and create a sense of like coziness. That's what I like to at least think of. Those couches are almost like foreground elements, but not necessarily. You can see what that shot comes out like. Like I said, like those couch lines really, you know, lead up to that bed right there. And we're able to create a nice and comfy feel. People can understand what they're going to see when they come into the house. And it just looks really clean and nice overall. So this is definitely more of a creative photo. But yet, then again, it still does a job of a real estate photography and what it has to offer. So if we keep on moving on here, you know, take some photos of the balcony. It's similar concept to the other side. And then take some more photos of a different angle. Down here, again, like there's some rooms here that aren't the prettiest. But my GoPro actually dies in a bit. But this is probably one of the last photos I want to show you guys. From here, taking a different perspective, you know, showing what that countertop is like. Like if you were to be at this house, right, like how would you feel about going to this countertop, looking over into the sort of island that you have here? That's the feel that I'm trying to get and create, right? And you do that with different perspectives, you do that at different heights. A lot of the stuff that I shoot is at eye level, and the reason for that is because when people are walking through the house, they're not going to be like on their knees crawling, right? We're going to be at eye level, looking around and stuff. So you want to make it feel and look as realistic as possible, as if someone were in the house itself. So that's the end of the GoPro footage, but I have one more photo that I want to show you guys, and this is showing the kitchen as well as the living area and then a part of the dining area. So what I really wanted to do with this photo is showcase the entirety of the room and showcase, you know, like you can walk here, 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 and so on. It just gives a whole like an entire feeling of the home itself, and I think that's really important in photos like this. You want to be able to capture entire rooms themselves. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of this POV shoot, guys. These are my favorite photos that I took, like this one of the outside. This one of the backyard's really nice because the pool has some nice depth to it. And then this low angle of the staircase is pretty nice. And then the last photo to look at is this one. So anyways, guys, let me know what your guys' favorite photo was down in the comment section down below. And we will jump right back to the video. Alright, also I just finished the shoot part of it. My GoPro died at the end just because there's not a battery, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this POV photography shoot down in the comment section down below. I thought it was pretty good. It's a big house, man. Like that took a lot longer than I thought it was gonna take, but it was really nice to look at. But anyways, guys, if you have any questions about real estate photography or, you know, about freelance photography in general, I'd be happy to make some videos about that. So let me know down in the comment section down below. Anyways, guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.